he was part of Earl of M's, you know, march of terror to get to winner side of Grands.
Right.
But Ravenking's hungry and he wants this to win again. He wants 2 weeks in a row.
Dan trying to play spoiler, as I think Dan does have the most Ignition wins in Ultimate. I want to say that's a stat. I'm going to make Jacob fact check me because that's his job.
Dang.
He actually does way too much. Of course, I'm just ribbing on him because he's a wonderful guy. But
shout out to everyone in production.
I do want to say Dan. It's either Dan or it's Meister because Meister has like so many Ignition wins, even though he doesn't live here. But
if you're gonna say it, it's Meister, right?
I go back and forth. I go every which way on that one.
I know how people going back and forth in my tag. They say, "Oh, it's Rifflip." No, it's Ryflip. But enough about that. Let's get back to the Mario versus Ike.
This is a pretty tough matchup on paper for Dan's Mario and Mario in general, just because you have to be very careful about how you choose your timing to weave in and out of Ike's effective ranges, because Ragnar is so big. He is a giant sword.
Yeah.
And Mario's a little stubby, so you can have issues with distance attempts.
Very true. So, yeah, but right now Dan just needs to take advantage of Ike's slightly slower sword data and just try and find these windows in which he can get these punishes off. Dash attack is gonna do it.
A perfectly timed dash attack from Ravenking, who understood the panic position where Dan wanted to get out of that parity as fast as he could. And of course, that dash attack we talked about, it's a big sword, hurts a lot.
Very true.
Excellent analytical commentary. That sword looks like it hurts a lot.
Yes, indeed. Swords versus the Fist of an Italian Plumber. No water!
That is your big opportunity to take advantage of Ike's weaknesses here as Mario, is that recovery is linear, and you either go horizontal or you go vertical. You know what's good at messing that up is the Flood and the Cape. Answer each of those options respectively.
Very true, very true. I actually have been seeing some things, because I remember early in the Ultimate meta, people said, oh, Mario is just worse compared to 4. And now people are saying, you know, he's not bad. He's actually really good. But
it was slightly an overreaction at the time because the up tilt change and the down throw changes were really actually the up tilt's basically the same. It's just the down throw doesn't set up into it anymore. Yeah. That took people for a loop for a bit. But Dan, of course, is the Mario man. He's never going to change off of this character, even if Mario's like bottom 5.
If you've seen this man's Mario connection, you'll know.
That was a crazy exchange between those two. We saw an empty full hop from Dan. Ravenking tried to answer the empty short hop with the up smash, but he just barely missed the timing on the full hop. Yep. And that was the difference between life and death. Or death and the other guy, death.
Death, yeah.
There was going to be death, for sure.
Yeah, perfectly spaced F tilt covering both regular get up and the roll from Ravenking. And we're pretty even in percents until Ravenking starts getting these confirms. Right off the grab, right off the nair.
So much combo game between both of these characters. Ike with the glow up into Ultimate with a crazy combo game of his own. So Dan is really, really showing that Mario's combo game, even though it was nerfed slightly, is still very violent.
Oh, nope, not great DI from Ravenking though.
I believe if the last hit of that coin connected, he might have had a chance for the KO, but Ike's also pretty heavy.
Possibly. Oh no, he was too low.
He went low to try to avoid the Flood, and it cost him. Dan up again.
I think Dan also angled the Flood a little bit down to even cover that if he did get to the perfect space. So, game 1 to Dan, but I have a feeling that was pretty explosive. He didn't look like it was entirely in one or the other's favor. So,
these two played in losers finals last week. Ravenking got the win 3-1.
Oh.
And then Ravenking 3-0'd and 3-1'd Kane in grand finals to take the trophy at Ravenking's first Ignition win, which I did not actually get a chance to say this on record yet, so I will say, of course, congratulations to Ravenking for last week. Let's see what you can do for me lately here on Kalos Pokemon League versus Dan.
Yeah, Ravenking wants a second win, and he has to fight his way through, you know, 3 of the toughest players in Chicago to do so. Or he's got to beat Dan first, and then he's got to try and get through Tyroy, and then he has to get all of his Big Mac results. But
Ravenking had a pretty decent record versus Tyroy, I believe, last season. I think it was like 2-1 or 1-1. He definitely had a win, at the very least. Which, if you get any wins on Tyroy in a season, that's a success, if you ask me. Oh, okay, that was a great DI mix-up. I think Dan was expecting the up air to follow up after the first neutral air, but instead the back air seemed to be flying way to the left and then took him for a loop.
Speaking of success, these combo strings are getting more of a success. Ravenking's starting to get more just off of these, and so is Dan.
Counterpicking a Mario to Kalos is scary because that side platform can do so much work for him. You have to be very careful against any of these vertical combo characters. Of course, I mean, you take what you can get for yourself as well.
I mean, you got two vertical combo characters in Ike and Mario, so... But
It's in the theory, you say you pick the stage for what it offers you, not necessarily for what it offers my opponent.
yeah.
Because that's like playing a more aggressive style, playing a more... rather than playing a defensive style where you're like, I'm picking a stage that takes away my opponent's options, I'm picking a stage that gives me options, right?
Yeah.
Proactive, that's the word I was trying to think of. We got there. We got there.
Yeah, up B, just to get the extra padded damage on. Not quite enough to kill, but
That
neutral
is.
air does. Up there, yeah. Day
Ouch.
one Ike strats, but you know, tried and true, no matter what.
Day one Ike strats have won majors, dude.
I ain't down that.
Don't doubt it. I 100% won't. And Ravenking is showing his proficiency with such strats.
Very true.
But get off of me, what a great option from the ledge get-up situation. Has armor on it, does 27 damage. What's not to love?
Well, I mean, invincible head, reverse up smash from Mario. You know, you also gotta love that in a sense.
Ooh, okay.
Purple
I love
coins.
any coin combos, especially because Dan uses this particular costume.
Very true. Gotta look snazzy for the fans. The run back.
Trying to cross these back airs. Both players are trying to hit these back airs or these combo starters in situations where they think their opponent will be, and they're just a little bit off the mark at the moment. But Dan now has the center stage pretty solidly as he works on a lead.
Yep, there. Ravenking is barely making it back to stage off of that flood, but going for the Nair-centric playstyle. Back air barely does it.
I thought Dan might have had the DI in his back pocket to stay alive from that, but just barely enough juice in the tank for Ike and Ragnell to take game 2 and tie this one up.
I mean, that was good DI. Like, he nearly lived that.
It's basically perfect DI.
I feel like if Dan was down maybe 1 or 2%, that would have survived.
Or on the part of rage, of course, for Ike, you had enough rage where it's still connected, and it helped out the back air a bit.
True, true.
Ned still has the most ignition wins. Oh, okay.
Let's go, Seth.
Ned has... were you talking to the stream or were you talking to me? Okay.
Yeah.
Ned has 7 ignition wins. Meister has 3. Seth, Dan, and Bushi are tied with 2. So I was way off the mark. Dan has the... I'm going to go ahead and say Dan has the most top 4s. He's always in top 4 of these things. However, Smashville is the choice. I know Dan does have a preponderance for the stage, but I see Ravenking counterpick here all the time.
He counterpicked here in the last set that I commentated against him because, you know, that center platform is just so good for extending Ike combos.
Of course, Dan's going to try to get the same thing started on his own. It's just the lethality of one combo string versus the other has shown to be advantage Ike, at least from many of the games that we both have commentated on this stage. But
Very true.
here, as soon as I say that, here comes Dan. He's going to try to get these back airs to knock Ike off stage and get a flood started, but then you get dash attacked and
These
see you
dash
later.
attacks have been perfect openings for the first stock in almost every single game.
They hit like a truck.
They certainly do.
First stock is also the best time to do that because you really don't necessarily care about the risk as much.
I mean, you have 2 more stocks.
You don't want to do that last stock, last hit because you'll eat it.
You almost definitely eat it, but coming out with the up smash, 1 more of those should do it for Mario, but
There you go.
okay.
1 more did it. Put a little juice on it too. A little extra sizzle.
I swear to God, I've been cursing at calling these things. Is this what commentator's curse feels like? Oh my God!
The tip of it? The eruption.
That was the furthest hitbox from eruption as well.
I mean, it did put him closer to the ceiling, but also you'd think there'd be a little bit of damage fall off when you're not in the sweet spot. However, Ike doesn't care. Ragnall hits like a truck. We've established this today.
Yes. Key insights from the commentators here. Swords hit like a truck.
Oh no!
What happened?
The directional air dodge just barely missed the ledge.
The classic day one SD strategy, so.
Feels bad, man.
I don't know.
What is this shirt you're wearing, Ravenking?
I
feel a little. No, I see it. It's on the camera. You don't need to show it to me.
There he goes. I actually remember seeing this shirt actually from a Melee player the first time.
I'm not even playing that. It makes me a little salty.
Yeah, so I was talking to Ravenking before, like, also because I remember, like, I saw his shirt before. That's when this Melee player, Rudolph, specifically at Big House. He was famous for always playing while laying down. Yeah, Big House 6. He was famous for playing laying down. And there's one, I think, where he beat Duck or someone who was at least in top 30. And he had that shirt on. But I don't think it had the CPU thing. It just had me over you.
Yeah, the CPU part is just a little bit of a troll. But I have seen that before.
So Dan switching to the classic Mario outfit, reminiscent of Smash 4, just saying, all right, the actual wedding gloves are off. Now it's time to show you what I can do.
Well, let me put on my plumber's gloves, I guess. And I've seen him go to this counter pick in times of dire need a couple of times now. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But right now, off to a hot start versus this Ravenking. And sniping the double jump, that's what you need. Get a good lead going.
Also,
Yeah, Jacob, it's Ravenking 2 on, by the way. Just make sure to swap that around.
Yep. Yeah, this is Dan's counter pick.
And now Ravenking making use of as much space as he can and trying to wait out the eruption this time. Just not enough juice in the tank to make it back on the recovery.
Just, the fear from the eruption just being there is enough to make you do just crazy things. Doesn't matter who you are, Ike's eruption is scary.
To get off me. I love it.
Yes. Oh.
But you got off me, and then I'm going to hit you back. I love this. This is such a slugfest of a matchup. Both players going in, both players just getting these blows in. Big swings.
Just all of these hard hits. I feel like Dan also is starting to embrace the combo style of, like, a few hits in, but all of them are just so beefy. And
there he had enough time.
Great stall from Dan, not using all his resources.
Back throw gonna land, and this is another edge guard opportunity. Okay, going all the way back. Try to snipe the quick draw if it had gone over and across the ledge.
Yeah.
But good mix-ups here on Ravenking to get back to center.
Ravenking hasn't actually done any quick draws over ledge, I think, throughout this entire set.
It's respecting Cape, and wow, the very last hit of that neutral air was enough to connect. And that's a similar situation to the game on Kalos, I think, which is the one where that rage combo connected at the very last second. Dan had a lead the whole time, but then the rage took away.
He read the dash back, but he just wasn't there to get the actual punish. So you see Dan trying to start in wall with these Mario back airs, but Ravenking just answering with ether.
He just hits so hard, and wow, that tear out of the jump. I love it.
I love it, but what is this?
He can get away with it because he had enough time to auto-cancel it by jumping off the Smash Hole platform on the side. But all right, Dan's got the stock.
Yeah. I mean, damage is a little high, but I mean, Mario has water, he has cape, and one mess up from Ravenking, especially in recovery, can spell the end.
Perfect angle for that fireball to help save the recovery.
He was looking for the shield break there. I think.
Is this the mess up though from Ravenking? Let's see. Dan's getting big hits in.
Ooh, yep. Yep. Ravenking perfect DIing back, trying to get away from the back air from Mario. And up there, that's going to take it.
Down he goes, and that is Ravenking moving on 3-1. I wonder why Dan didn't go for an up air, up B setup.
I feel like he didn't think that it would kill it that early.
It must have been related to the way to Ike, I think.
Yeah.
Ike's chunky. He might have lived for it.
I mean, it was around, I think, 50 or 60%. So that might have killed, but I don't think he might have thought that he wasn't high enough in which he can